How are we doing, guys? It's Steve Runs here once again, channel created for like-minded people looking to become fitter, healthier people. If that sounds like you, hit the red subscribe button below and let's go on our running journeys together. Right, just a quick video because I've not done one for a couple of weeks. I've had some interesting developments of late that I'm going to talk to you about and just talk about my recent training. And apologies for the noise in the background as I'm in a garden here on a beautiful, hot, sunny day in the UK. So this morning I've had a nice run out with Mikey. I didn't get much footage there. I usually do it on the move there, but for some reason I'm shy of talking, even though it's my best mate. I just don't really do what I do, so I'm doing it here in the garden. Basically, I've had 5 good weeks of consistent training at the minute. Everything's going to plan. 5 weeks on the bounce of 30 plus miles, so that's pretty good consistency. Ready for a nice down week next week. So everything's going to plan for my marathons upcoming and a big race that I'm going to explain to you in a moment. So everything's going great. I call this video the good, the bad and the ugly because there's good news, potentially some bad news and some really ugly news, which I'm going to go through first. So the ugly news is, and maybe the bad news at the same time, is that I've had issues with my feet. I've noticed lately, well, quite a while back actually, but just started to look into it properly, that my toes don't really bend properly anymore. My big toes move as one unit like that, and it's really quite strange why it's doing it. But I went to see a doctor this week about that, and they've sent me off to a podiatrist, I think that's the right word, and he instantly said to me, "I know what's wrong here. You've got really flat feet." I was like, that is a total surprise to me. I'd never even looked at that and thought and wondered that that was a thing. I thought it was really obvious when you have flat feet. I used to take the mick out of my wife because of having flat feet. I thought she stomped around a little bit, but it turns out it's me that had the flat feet. And this might explain the reason why I'm quite a loud runner on my videos. You hear a lot of slapping around on the floor from my shoes. I always blame the shoes, but I think it was me all along. So I'm just going to quickly put a video of my feet on a flat floor in there to see what you think. And I've noticed now that there's not a gap at all to me to slip my fingers under. Doing all the tests and all that, it seems to be right what they say. So that'd make a sense for a lot of the things that have been going wrong recently. Okay, so I apologise sincerely for this. This is the ugly part of the video because my feet are just horrific. But I need to show you how much mobility I have left in my toes since I went to go see a doctor about it and why I've gone. They've actually improved since, but you wouldn't think so. Here's the mobility I have. Okay. That's me. That's as much bend as I've got in all my toes. They do not go. This joint is just one thing there. It bends if I do it myself, but I can't do it myself. So this is where I went to the doctor, and the reason for the flat feet diagnosis is because they're always on the floor like that. When your feet lean inwards, like mine do, your toe has no work to do. There's no grip on the floor. All it's done is sit flat for all my adult life probably, and it's forgotten how to bend as such. So I'm just going to show you how much arch I've got under my foot to show you the flat-footedness. Okay, so this is my foot lightly on the floor there. Okay, my leg is straight down, how you'd be stood straight. As you can see, there's none or very little gap to put anything under there. You should be able to fit your fingers underneath. There's a slight shadow, but not much at all. When you lean forward and put pressure on, like when you're running, it's completely flat to the floor. I never realised you're supposed to have some kind of sort of like that really, so your toes work as well, but mine are like, my wife says, like a slab of steak just sat on the floor. And she could have told me I had flat feet, but she never said anything. But there you go, just goes to show you never know what's going on until you see a professional. I've got really flat feet. Okay, with this one, I'm just going to stand straight on to what I thought is standing straight. I've never looked down or recorded myself. This is what I feel is being stood up straight with good posture. And what you can see in the video is how much my feet are leaning inwards there. So my feet are already leaning in. And with that, you're already starting on a skew width angle. So your feet are going inwards, and your bones coming out there, and then they're going inwards funny to your hips, and nothing is symmetrical from your legs going up. and the whole biomechanical chain, whatever they call it, is wrong when you're starting to run. So you're getting pressure on here, pressure here, pressure on the muscles, pressure on your knees inside and out, all the way up to your hips, all the way up to your lower back, and this is where the problems start to come in to your running. Because I've looked into it more, I've seen a list of the common injuries that flat-footed runners have, and I've had every single one of them. I'll put a list of the injuries on now that I took a photo of, but the main ones here are the IT band. I've had that recently on my left knee, going right down to my knee. It's really painful, and that first come after my first marathon. Didn't hurt during, but afterwards it's so tender to touch, and it's kind of been there ever since, although it's wafting away now that I know what I'm dealing with. Plantar fasciitis, I feel like I've got that in my right foot. They're only minor at the moment, so it's lucky I've got this sorted out now that I can work on to try and clear them. And also Achilles tendonitis. I don't know whether this is to do with my calf injuries that I've had, but that hurts right down my Achilles, down to my heel, like it's almost joined on to the heel problem that I have. But it feels like the flat-footedness that I have out of the blue is a lot to do with the injuries I've had. So what I'd really like is for you to say if you've got flat feet and what you've done to combat it. I'm currently working on strengthening all the right places to try and make it strong, and whether this is an old born with problem, or whether this is to do with me wearing trainers all my life and it's actually collapsed in. So I'm doing a lot of thinking recently, and it's stressing me out quite a lot to think that that's happened. But now I pretty much know what it is, that I can start to work on it, and maybe I don't know how much difference it's going to make to my running that I'm doing at the moment, but happy I know what it is now and I can start to work on that. So that's the ugly news there. The ugly part being the state of my feet. They're an absolute mess and they look horrible. My missus is freaked out by them, the way they bend all funny and stuff like that. So that's the ugly part. The bad part of that was finding out that I'm flat-footed, and it's hard for runners to be runners when they have them. So that's the bad and the ugly parts there. The good news is that everything's going well at the moment. I've got these wedges to put in my shoes, these orthotics, and they feel absolutely horrific. I wore them for my runs to work through this week, and I've got the nastiest blister on the middle of my foot because of it. So now I'm starting to wonder whether I need to wear them for running or just wear them in just my walking around the house daily and at work and stuff like that, and leaving them out for running. It's just all mixed up in the moment. So that's that. But the other good news that I have at the moment is I was successful in my ballot for the 100k race to the King. Absolutely madness. I'm really happy about it, and I'm really scared about it at the same time. This is a completely new challenge for me, and I'll go and run 100k without sort of stopping, no breaks in between. This is more than what I ever thought I was going to do. I thought the marathon was the big thing, which if you see my video, you can go back and have a look at how much I struggled with that. But this is a whole new thing where you go and you sort of take your time and you spread the pace out nicely through the whole thing. So I got a good feeling about that one, about just going and getting it done and not worrying about pace and just keeping the heart rate nice and steady for it. And I think this marathon training that I'm doing is going to hold me in really good stead to go and get this done. It's in June next year. I got the exact date, June the 15th or so. And yeah, I just can't wait to get that done. It's a whole new experience. When I went to see John Stocker about my injuries, had my massage and stuff like that, he's literally one of the best in the world of doing these races. He's recently done one in America, I've just seen, where he ran 140 miles or something like that. So yeah, he said to me that you're like the marathon, but you're like ultra marathons. When you do that, you'll never look back, and it's the whole community of it, and everyone that's there is pushing each other along. So good news on that front. I've got that booked in now. That's another thing to add to the date. So we've got London Marathon in October. I have Brighton Marathon in April next year, I believe, which now is going to have to be just a training run, nothing to try and beat any times, and that's all going to be in preparation for this 100k race to the King. I can't bloody wait.
So I've really been working on, if you've got my Strava on, then you'll see that I have, but if you haven't, then have a look at my Strava, search up Stevo Runs. I've been really mad on the sort of weight training and stuff at the moment, because I've come to the realization now, getting a bit further on in my running journey, that it's absolutely essential that your body is strong and fit, ready for these races and stuff like that. If there's anything that let me down in the marathon I did, my first ever marathon, is that my body didn't feel strong enough to cope with it. My muscles were cramping up and all that. Whether it's a nutrition problem, I'm not even sure yet, but all I know is that I need stronger legs and a stronger core to be able to do those sort of runs. So I knew all along that you needed to do weight training, but I always thought, is it that essential? But now I've come to the stage where I've seen that it is absolutely essential to do it 2 or 3 times a week, to get yourself completely prepared for the running that you're putting your body through. Also been stretching out and using the foam roller as well. I've had a foam roller for a long time and never took that seriously, but I'm stretching more than I ever did before, like afterwards. Mobility stretches before I run, and foam rolling regularly as well. Even when I'm not doing a weight training, I'll get the foam roller out. I just have it in my living room now, and I just give myself a good going over with the foam roll, just to get the muscles all ready for and limbered up, ready for the next run. And anyway, that's pretty much it for me. I got the big race that I wanted. The ballot was successful. The injuries that I've sustained, I probably don't say too much about. They're sort of lingering in the background, and I feel happy that I've sussed out what it might be before they get too out of hand. So please let me know in the comments below. This is a question for you. If you've got flat feet, please let me know what you do to be successful, to keep running below. The last thing I want to do is run myself into injuries where I can't run as often as I'd like. Do you wear your orthotics whilst you're running? Have you got any tips for me to strengthen mine up? I've learned quite a lot this last few weeks about how to strengthen it and whether I can create my arch again. And yeah, if you've got any advice for me for that, that'd be really, really handy. Okay, so sorry about the short video and it just being in the garden, but I just thought I'm checking in because I've not made a video for quite some time. So thanks for joining me. This is Stevo Runs. See you on the next one.